And Mr. Cosby, I called yesterday. He said, "Booyah."
Andrew, what do you have to say on behalf of Bill Cosby about this verdict?
Look, I've been on the phone with Mr. and Mrs. Cosby every day. But yesterday, we have a favorite saying. I will always give updates on my live Instagram at Andrew Wyatt. And after I do my live updates and I'm reporting on what was going on in the courtroom, I always call them. And my favorite saying was "Booyah." And Mr. Cosby, I called yesterday. He said, "Booyah." And he said, "What happened?" I said, "Well, Mr. Cosby, they awarded her $500,000. I said, "But they did not get punitive damages." He said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, no punitive damages." The $500,000 was a huge victory for us. And the reason why I say that is because they could have given her unlimited damages and punitive damages, and they did not, which told us that, yes, they wanted to punish Mr. Cosby, the jurors. And we found out from juror number 2 and juror number 3, who spoke with Mr. Cosby, that many of the jurors came in with a bias against him. Many of the jurors came in saying, "We have daughters, and we just think he should be punished." But they didn't feel that Judith Huff really reached her burden to say that she suffered anxiety, depression, panic attacks, night sweats, nightmares because of Bill Cosby. And she was awarded only $500,000 as Miss Adrian Diggs and Miss Barbette, juror number 2, said, "We were going to stay there and fight every day, all day, because we were not going to let her walk away with $1 million. We found out that she has mountain legal bills with Nathan Goldberg and Gloria Allred in the tune of $4 million. Also, they did this on the contingency where they get 33.3%. We will be filing an appeal, Angenette, in 2 weeks in Judge Carlin Court, which she would never get to see a payday. She would never get to see a payday. And if Mr. Cosby, the victory for us is him not having to pay punitive damages. That could have ranged Allred and Nathan Goldberg wanted us to pay their firm between $10 and $15 million. But the jurors, it was an unlimited number. They could have said, "Hey, pay her $50 million. But that was a victory for us.
So Bill Cosby considers what happened basically a victory, and you said he spoke with jurors already. Is that right?
Spoke with jurors as soon as the jurors were released. He spoke with juror number 2 and juror number 3. And juror number 2 is a white female, and juror number 3 is a black female. And they told him that it was an honor to speak with him. They believed him. They voted no on everything. They voted no on Judith Huff. Did they believe that he forced her to give a hand job? And they just said many of these jurors came in biased, and a lot of them were racist. Those were their words to Mr. Cosby, as well as myself. So it's what we did not want it. We thought we could get jurors who would be fair and impartial. But, as we have always said, Mr. Cosby, first off, should have never been there, because when Judith Huff filed this lawsuit in 2014, there was no look-back law in California at the time. Mr. Cosby then was incarcerated, and California put a look-back law into place. Well, he had a permanent stay with this civil suit because of his incarceration. When his incarceration was vacated for in perpetuity by the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court, Wednesday, June 30th of last year, Gloria Allred made a threat and said, "I am going to the courts to ask them to remove the stay," which they did August of last year. And we told her we look forward to our day in court because Mr. Cosby just wanted the facts and the truth out there. And he got what he wanted, because in his video deposition, they asked him, "Did you know Judith Huff?" He said, "No." "Did you ever bring minors to the Playboy Mansion?" He said, "No." So that's on record. And I feel that we have a great appellate record. When we file this appeal in 2 weeks, it's going to be beneficial for us, but also Mr. Cosby, because it has some issues to go to the Supreme Court to say that, this look back window prejudiced people like Bill Cosby, who are in legal situations, and whose Fifth Amendment rights have been severely and grossly violated. We saw in Montgomery County. So this is a huge day for us. And she will not get to see any of this $500,000 because, as you know, once you file the appeal, that money is held up. She won't get to see a dime. So I would say to Ms. Huff, don't quit your day job as a tourist at the winery.
How is Bill Cosby doing? Because he, when he got out of, when he was released from the prison, he has some trouble seeing, right? And stuff like that. So physically, emotionally, how is he doing?
He's doing fantastic. Mr. Cosby is 100% blind due to glaucoma. He went blind 10 years ago. He can't see you or me or anything. But he's doing fantastic. He's doing very well. We were talking. We're planning a big celebration for him because he called me up last week and said, Andrew, you and I, we have an anniversary together, just like my wife and I. So what are you talking about? I totally forgot. He said, it's coming up on the 1-year anniversary when the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court vacated my conviction. And that's going to be Thursday, June 30th. So we're putting together a 3-minute video piece that I'm working with a network on. And Bill Cosby will say some words, and people will finally get to hear him speak on this video piece that we're going to put out nationally and globally across the world. So he's doing very well. And he's so pleased and proud of his legal counsel, attorney Jennifer Bunjean, her associate Ashley Cohen, her paralegal Haley Kuba, and the local attorney here who pro-hawked them in, Michael Freeman. They did a yeoman's job. And what we saw in the courtroom, I don't know if you got to come through, we didn't see victims. The behavior that we saw from Lily Bernard and many of the alleged accusers, bringing their children to the courtroom to try to intimidate me. Lisa Lott Lublin, the accuser out of Vegas, her and her husband drive over. He challenges me to a fight and acts like he has a pocket knife that he wants to pull out of some sort. We don't succumb to violence. We have never done that. And the court is a place where you come when you file your grievances against someone and you try it in the court. And we understand the rules have changed because of this social media environment we are in, that you also have another court, the court of public opinion. And the Constitution gives us the right to freedom of speech. But during the press conference, I could not say one word because Gloria Allred, who claims to be a civil rights attorney, had accused of screaming profanity and, acting barbaric. And it was disappointing because they were doing that in front of their children and had their children acting that way. And what Gloria Allred has done is violated the victim card of sexual abuse, of true survivors of sexual abuse and molestation. And it was disappointing to see. It was disheartening. It became a minstrel show that was a disgrace to true victims of sexual assault. And I've always said this, I'm from Alabama, a civil rights state, and I represented King's organizations, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, for 10 years. And I always said that civil rights today is not for us because Gloria Allred's civil rights is to destroy successful Black men in America. That's why we have to fight for equal rights. And we have to say that we're a part of this Constitution as well. When she stood up in the courtroom on Juneteenth, the commemoration of Juneteenth, and said to the judge, I want to make a point on the record that today is Juneteenth, and it should be not just a federal holiday, but a state holiday. You will exploit Juneteenth while going after America's Black icon for millions of dollars. It was disappointing, but, that's what we understand. This is not about justice for women. This is about racism and Miss Allred's obsession for Bill Cosby, and that she has not been able, think about it now, she paraded 60 plus women out against him. And his prison sentence was vacated. He never got COVID in prison. He didn't die. You get a stay removed off of a civil suit. You go through all of this for $500,000 that your client would never see. But her history of being a known racist and a liar was published for the world to see. We're victorious, and we're happy today, and we're pleased. And I just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity and time to tell our side of the story.